2018 has come and gone, and we are now towards the end of the first week of 2019. How are your New Year's resolutions going? Obviously, what we find is that within the first few weeks of the year, New Year's resolutions are made and broken fairly easily. Now, if this is the first time you're seeing my video, my suggestion is to go back to my Facebook page, and pinned on top of the Facebook page is the last 3 years of videos on New Year's resolutions and how to set goals for achievement during the year. And I break it into several subsets, where investing is one subset, social is another, personal development, business development, and so forth. And then we are breaking it down to mini steps so that we can then achieve them, and breaking everything down into a 90-day plan. The reason why we want to get into 90-day plans and not leave it for the full year is so that there is a bit of time pressure and it is easier to manage. Obviously, during the year, when I'm thinking about what I need to achieve and what else I need to add to my goals, I write them down in a book, and I put it in post-it notes, and at the end of the year, between Boxing Day and New Year's, what I do is I adopt the ones that I want for the following year and discard or park away the ones that I feel are not as pertinent. The reason why we don't achieve our resolutions or our New Year's goals, or goals in general, is that there isn't any emotional attachment to it. So often we set up goals that are wishy-washy. As an example, I want to earn $1 million, or as an example, I want to get a new car. There is no feeling attached as to what the benefit is going to be, so there's no hard driver behind it, so that when you hit your first obstacle, your reason, your want, and your desire is far greater than the obstacle, and therefore you are able to realign and continue down the path to achieve the goals. Now, what I want to talk about this year is the basic money management. In other words, as the property market is cooling, and there's no doubt that in 2019, particularly your New South Wales and your Victorian markets are cooling rapidly, and in fact some areas have cooled down as much as 10 to 20%. Now, when that happens, obviously it's got a flow-on effect in terms of businesses, in terms of market sentiment, and therefore in the state of mind of people, because they feel less rich. And the reason they do that is because they can see that their equity in their properties is slipping away. So how do we combat that? Obviously, the first thing is not to follow the herd, and not to panic and sell, and not to panic and stop buying. What you need to do is obviously change the types of properties that you're buying, or change the investment vehicle that you are undertaking. So, as an example, if you have a very heavily negative cash flow property, now's the time to batten down the hatches and realign your cash flow. Whether that means releasing a heavily negative cash flow property to replace with an equal asset but better cash flow for that particular property. Now, obviously there are some tax consequences when you do sell, so to speak, with the accountant before you actually embark on that. But that's one of the ways that you can certainly look at realigning your portfolio. Now, the other thing that you can do is have a look at all of your direct debits. Have a look at all of your insurances. Are you paying double? Shop around the insurances, whether it's personal insurances, whether it's insurance for a car, or whether it is insurance for your property, your landlord's insurance, and so forth. Often when you're doing monthly payments, you are paying a little bit more, so usually around 5 to 10% more than if you paid as a lump sum at the beginning of the year or during the year. So these are things that you could look at. The aim that you should have is to find a way of reducing your expenditure by 15 to 20%. I'm talking about your household expenditure. This does not mean that you change unnecessarily and substantially your lifestyle, but what it does mean is to relook at where the money is going. Where are we bleeding money unnecessarily? Is it a gym membership that you've never used? Is it a insurance policy that needs to be reviewed so that there are cheaper, better policies around? Speak to an insurance broker if you're planning to do that. Is there a restructuring of your mortgages that you can undertake where you have the ability to reduce the payments or accelerate the payments so that you're paying down the debt faster? These are some basic housekeeping that you can look at so that you can get a better cash flow this year as the property market cools down. But also look at changing the types of properties you're buying if you're continuing to invest. Change the types of properties you're buying so that you're buying more value-add properties, more opportunistic properties, such as properties that are zoned, and by that I mean properties where you can put multiple dwellings on, or properties where it's clearly substantiated that you're getting it for a discount. That is the way to make money in a sideways market or a cooling down market. In terms of money management, obviously, get some basic accounting happening. In other words, start an Excel spreadsheet, look at the money, record the money coming in, record the money going out. You'll start seeing some expenditure patterns. And particularly with the changing finance market, where the banks are looking at your expenditure, reconsider how and why you're spending your money and realign it for better use. Now obviously I can sit here and preach and talk about money management, but this is something that I have done personally, and it is one of my New Year's goals to see reduction in my both personal expenditure and business expenditure as well, and investing in expenditure. So looking at ways of saving the cash flow, because we can realign that towards debt repayment. Also, obviously, you would want to continue your education, whether it is investing, whether it is in personal development, and in fact, what you want to do is use social media the best way possible. In other words, don't get lost in the digital clutter. Now, I get the irony of it. You're watching this video via social media, but at least you're watching this and it is educational. So realign yourself to getting more educational videos, educational content, rather than just blindly following YouTube videos or Facebook posts that are not aligned towards furthering your goals. Some basic realignment is what's in tune for this year. I wish you a very, very prosperous new year, and don't forget to reach out if you wanted to have a chat. Oh, by the way, the boss has reviewed the video and she's reminded me that I forgot to tell you about the book. Make sure you get a copy. You can find them on Dimex, or you can find them online, or just send me a private message and I'll show you where to get it. Have a prosperous 2019.